Everyone knows that successful people are more likely to rebound quickly from life's inevitable setbacks. But everyone also knows that that's easier said than done. Well, perhaps the following composite examples of what my clients did might be instructive. First, we'll talk about a failed attempt at returning to school. My client was bored at her job at a turgid organization at which you need 4 meetings to make a modest policy change. So when her employer offered to pay 2/3 of the cost of a master's degree, with her kids grown up and out of the house, which gave her time, she jumped at the opportunity. But after trying hard for a semester, she said, "My brain just isn't working as well as it used to," and she dropped out, having lost $4,000 and the taxpayer $8,000 for the semester's tuition. I asked if there might be an alternative explanation to "my brain isn't working as well as it used to." Poorly chosen instructors, poor study habits, too many other responsibilities like life responsibilities, or a substance abuse problem. And she said no. I wish that before she had signed on for a whole master's degree program, she had audited one course or at least reviewed the syllabi plus student reviews of the core instructors. It's usually wise to take a low-risk action, a pilot test, before committing to a major investment of time and money. She wanted to discuss how she might refresh herself without going back to school, and we consider each of the following: taking an individual course at a local community college, an adult school, a university extension, or online through Udemy, LinkedIn Learning, or Coursera. She declined, saying that at least for now, school's out. She felt too traumatized from her semester in the master's program. We also looked at asking her boss if she could do a special project that would excite her, and she said that was unrealistic. We discussed looking for opportunities to mentor students or new employees. She said she's not good at mentoring. We discussed finding an exciting after-work activity, and I asked about sports, crafts, community theater, volunteering, romantic and family activities, and none of that resonated with her. We finally settled on her meeting with her favorite coworkers for a TGIF and a mutual support session at a local watering hole now that the government's COVID restrictions are lifting. The second example I want to share with you about responding to failure is a spouse who walked out, when somebody's spouse walked out on her. I clicked on my Zoom session and saw that my client looked sad. When I asked if anything's wrong, she said, "My husband walked out on me. He said, 'I've had enough of your laziness, stupidity, and drinking.'" Marty, you and I talk about resilience, but how the hell do I bounce back from that? After taking a bit of time to offer some empathy, I asked her whether she thought there was much of a chance of his returning. Perhaps if the two of you saw a counselor. She said no. I then asked, "So, what might be helpful for us to talk about?" And she responded with something like, "I feel so guilty and hopeless. If I couldn't keep the man I so loved, and he's a good man, I'm hopeless." I didn't want to invalidate her perception, but I didn't agree that she nor anyone is hopeless. So I turned to asking her about some options, staying solo for a while or getting back on the bike before the fear grows. She said she wants to get back on the bike. I did suggest that she wait a little while. Quick rebound relationships often end badly. She then asked, "Well, how can I change?" And I responded, "Well, what do you think is both realistic and important to change?" She says, "I can't get on the wagon now, stop drinking now, because I'm too stressed, but I have to be nicer, really." I then asked, "Well, that's pretty broad. What's 1 or 2 concrete ways you could be nicer?" She said something like, "Talk less and listen more, criticize less, letting the small things go, praise more, including the little things." I responded, "Sounds great. It'll take practice, but yeah, keep those ideas top of mind. Maybe even keep a written copy, eye level, next to your computer monitor or on your refrigerator or your mirror." The final example of rebounding after a failure is a skiing accident. A client pushed himself too hard while skiing and crashed, shattering his knee and hip. He'll never ski again. Indeed, will only walk slowly and with a limp. He alternated between freaking out, denial, and acceptance. I asked him, "What can we talk about that would be helpful?" He said he needs to focus on acceptance, replacing the fear with calm acceptance, and anger, by the way. I asked him, "In the past, what's worked for you in accepting bad news without freaking out?" And he said something like, "Denial. The more I think about something like this, the worse I feel. I just have to take my meds, do my physical therapy, lose 10 pounds, shrug my shoulders at the pain, and move on." I asked, "How likely is that to work, short and long term?" He said, "Short term, not so well, but when I get in the habit of doing that, it'll get better, although not great. But not great may be the best I can hope for, and getting angry about it or worrying what I can't do now and in the future only makes me feel worse." I simply nodded. The takeaway? Those examples embed tactics for rebounding from failure. Might one or more of them be worth trying? Here are the major embedded tactics. Rather than excessive rumination about the failure, focus on evaluating a number of low-risk actions for moving forward. Sometimes it's a big failure that's the needed wake-up call. Denial has a bad reputation, but sometimes it's wise. And finally, even after severe failures, no one is hopeless. In any event, I do thank you for watching. I'm Marty Nemko. I welcome your thumbs up and accept your thumbs down. I always look forward to your comments and especially like it if you hit the share button below. Share on your social media so that my efforts can have broader impact. And I am flattered if you choose to subscribe to my channel. In any event, I do thank you for watching. I am Marty Nemko.